In the last few weeks, I've noticed that my own attitude towards purchasing and what I'm adding to my want list in Star Wars Legion has shifted. I have yet to pick up the card pack 2, which has some pretty great and useful stuff in it like the bounty hunters. Now, this isn't due to a decrease in my interest in the game. That's not the case at all. Rather, what I've realized is it's that the way that AMG has approached the expansion pack, the miss of the Gar Saxon Shield card, as well as a rise of print-and-play material around the battle forces that have all led to a change in my desire to have the real cards. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Legion folks, and welcome back to Dice Commando for another Lazy Legion Sunday. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope everything's been going well. Now, today's video is an opinion piece, and yes, that's not totally different from normal where I'm giving my opinion on something, like, that's just your opinion, man. But instead, I'm talking about kind of my personal opinion, feelings, attitude, whatever it may be, right? And you are, of course, welcome to agree or disagree. That's kind of the whole point. So let me know what you think as we go in the comments. Also, before we get into this, there's a weird thing that happens to gamers in gaming. Because players become so passionate about their games, for some, anything that is less than positive feedback on the game or the game's designer is often seen as a personal attack. I'm not attacking AMG here, nor am I attacking Legion. I'm not trying to take anybody's toys away, okay? What I'm talking about instead is an observation that I've had about my personal habits and my personal mindset and how that's changed from when I first got into the game. And again, it doesn't mean what's happening is wrong. To be 100%, 1,000,000% clear here, I personally love the idea of print and play, specifically for stuff like the battle forces. In the old days, I feel like FFG would have almost certainly required a purchase, and AMG is showing a very player-friendly approach by changing this approach. Now, something that you need to understand is that I've wanted to play war games for years, but I've never pulled the trigger because the codex structure for 40K was way too daunting for me to keep up with. Legion was not only Star Wars, but it also brought a much more attractive and, shall we call it, board game-esque approachable method with the cards for the units. And again, I know that there are people out there who don't like the cards, but for me, it made the game more approachable, and it did so enough that I was willing to dip in. And that, folks, is where the major change in my behavior comes in that I've noticed. So in short, since a fair amount of my army's cards these days may have paper inserts in them, by AMG's own design, mind you, combined with the fact that Errata is sure to continue going forward of the game's life, leading to more print and play, that I found that in 95% of the situations in I play, there's not a ton of reason to have the quote-unquote real cards anymore. Even when it comes to like the card upgrade pack that we're referring to, if I'm printing out Gar Saxon's shield, which I have to do, and slipping it, let's say, in a sleeve over a copy of a grenade, then why wouldn't I just at the same time on that same sheet of paper print up a couple copies of Up Close and Personal, which is, one of the things I'd need out of the upgrade pack or the new Boba or whatever it may be, and why not just slip those in sleeves as well, cut them out on the same piece of paper and save a few bucks? So that's ultimately what I'm talking about today, is a shift from my original behavior. In the old days, I wouldn't have hesitated at all to run out and buy the official cards. But since those official cards are now right next to paper printouts that are official, you start to see where I'm driving at, right? And that's what I'm talking about today, is it's a shift from my original behavior. So why have I shifted? I think it comes down to two things, and both are kind of related here, right? One was, I'll admit, I'm a little bothered that the card pack 2 didn't include copies of the errated cards to date, right? They actually even took away the print and play pictures of the errated cards, like the airspeeder and the various machine guns that used to be in the official documents, but no longer are. I was kind of hoping we would get updated versions of those cards in the pack, but the upgrade pack, but it didn't come, right? And the thing is, So now, because those official, like we're even resorting to using community created stuff over the top of our official cards, slipping it in that sleeve. And we do need those, right? We do need those errata cards because for some of these, many of these, as errata were put in that changed how a unit acted in the game, keywords, dice, whatever it may be, it's necessary to have that reference in game, right? You do need it. Now, points changes, to be clear here, points changes aren't really a problem because you can comprehend points changes relatively easy when you're building your list, and then you don't need to worry about it in game, right? But for the rest, again, like keywords or, if you're surging to crit now instead of surging to hit or whatever it may be, that is kind of a big deal for in-game play. So, right, at a tourney level, we all know the cards are required. No question there. But for the 95% of us or more that play at a casual level, or even when they do play in tourneys, I've actually seen a lot of tourneys that allow proxies, which is pretty common. What's our motivation overall to buy a card that will sit right alongside of a paper printout, right? I mean, the Gar Saxon one is easy to ping on because it was a mistake, and mistakes happen, and I want to be forgiving of that. But if you buy an official product and in order to play that have to have a printed card, you hopefully you can see what I'm driving at. Now, the counter argument here is that as errata will inevitably continue to happen. I mean, it will as the game evolves and changes are needed. Is it or should it be our expectation that AMG continues to release more and more stuff, which then requires us to buy more and more stuff just to keep up with official product? No, of course not. And that's why print and play is the right answer here. So hopefully you can see what I'm driving at overall, right? That said, this all lends itself to the next obvious phase in that discussion, which is, well, do we need the cards? Well, what about an app or whatever that? Now, before you start yelling at me, recall what I said earlier about what brought me to the game. What made me comfortable playing or trying this game was the cards, having them on reference versus a compendium or an app, right? That is what appealed to me. But now I'm sitting here and saying that with the way that things are now, the cards may be becoming obsolete. So for someone who was attracted to the game to thus be flipping on that, I think that's kind of a big deal, right? And that's why I thought it was interesting and worth talking about that, look how as things have changed, I mean, opinions can change over time based on information, and I think that's fine. And, to be 100% clear here, I don't want the cards to go away. I like having the card. I mean, sure, they can be annoying from time to time, like laying them all out and keeping track of them. But like the cards, I think the cards really do help things, right? And I know that others have it all in their heads or whatever. And again, I get it. But at the point where half of our cards are printouts, it does send an interesting message, right? And then we start going rabbit hole with, which is a whole different conversation. We start going down the rabbit hole with proxy models, 3D print models and the such. I mean, one of the main reasons to go out and buy these guys right back here is not only do you get the cool official model, but you also get the official cards, the printed out cards. And, if you're not getting that, and if half of your cards are now print and play, like, the Gar Saxon thing or something, and I know I keep harping on that, but again, hopefully you understand my point, right? If you're going out, if the reason to go out and buy this is to get all of the official product, but then half of the product you get in there isn't right, and you have to go to your printer, why not just go to the printer and do all of it and then buy a different sculpt or something like that, right? I mean, I think that's a reasonable place where, not me, but I think it's a reasonable place where some people could very, very easily end up. And quite frankly, there's a lot of people that we know are already there, right? So again, I know that's opening a can of worms, and it's a different discussion in of itself. And I will still use my official models. Don't you worry. That's what I like to print up. That's, again, but hopefully you see my point. So anyway, let's wrap this up. And again, in conclusion, nothing is wrong here at all, right? But you have to admit there certainly is less motivation overall for one to stick to purely official product when official product is demanded to be printed. Right? Again, the Gar Saxon thing, or, I mean, sure, you could go out and spend, what would it be, $800 in Battle Forces? No, it'd be $1,000 in Battle Forces if you wanted to get those cards, but of course, you're just going to go print them. And again, that's perfectly fine. It's great that you don't have to go out and do that. But you, again, right, if I have paper stuff alongside official stuff, my motivation to have mostly official stuff decreases. So again, hopefully you get it. So anyway, let me know what you guys are thinking. Hopefully you can understand there's nothing sinister here. I'm not attacking the game or anything of the sort. This was just an observation of my personal attitude, and I wanted to have the conversation. So let me know what you think. Let me know why you're wrong. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what your thoughts are. And thanks for joining. Just roll crits and go Commando.